Do you ever think back to the opening space of a game? I think about them a lot. It's so interesting to see how the developer crafts the spot where you first gain control. You can tell so much about a game based on it. For instance, this space is kinda open. There's a lot of room to run and jump. Well, I'm a bit restrained right now. There's some enemies right there. I came back here after beating the game, and there's some level 50s that claimed this territory. I like that as a trope. It makes it satisfying to re-explore areas that were once important to the story. This is where your player character first landed in the world. You can still see the little drop pod that they took. I could clear this space out by killing these guys, but that almost feels wrong. They claimed it after I left. After all, move your feet, lose your seat. So you guys enjoy it. I'll leave you be. Going forward a bit, you're still in an enclosed area. You're not allowed to explore the world quite yet. You know it's coming though. You've played video games before. I've played Xenoblade Chronicles before. I even talked about this with my tour of the game. We got a scale reveal coming up. They're keeping the space somewhat tight through this early section to wow you when it finally opens up. There we go. Absolutely beautiful. You know, the opening of the game didn't really grip me until this point. This short sequence truly made me excited to explore this alien world and see all that it has to offer. Oh, sorry. Welcome to Video Game World Tours. And this is Planet Mira from Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. The story pushes you to head to the main... Sorry, I'm just so tired right now. You know what? It took a lot of effort to record all this voiceover so far. I might just go take a nap. And thanks to this video's sponsor, Manta Sleep, I know it'll be a good one. They make a variety of sleep masks for every kind of sleeper. I, of course, love the Manta Sound Sleep Mask. It has Bluetooth speakers that let you play whatever you want while going to sleep. And it's super comfortable too. They just put out a new version of it with a bunch of improvements. The previous version is still on the site though, and at a discount too. Use code PRETZEL for 15% off on top of that. Click the link in the description. What a deal. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to get some sleep in real quick. Then we'll explore Mira. Nighty night. The story pushes you to head to the main hub city of the game pretty quickly, but you can take in the sights as you make your way there. This is an open world game. You know you'll soon be able to explore all that you can see from here. It's like getting a sneak peek of a Christmas present you got. You can see it, and you get to think of all the fun you'll have with it in the future, but you can't have that fun yet. Actually, I just did a bit of assuming there. I started up a new game real quick to see if the game would force you to stay on the intended path, and it doesn't. Fall damage doesn't exist, so you can jump down immediately. I assumed it would teleport you back up to where you're supposed to be, but it didn't. It's a bit terrifying exploring this world at level 2, but by God, you can do it. I was curious if you could visit the other regions at this point. I thought it'd be hilarious to go all the way to Cauldros, assuming there weren't any evil enemy spawns blocking your way. I went to Noctilum to see if it was even possible to visit another region, and unfortunately, the game stops you. Elma tells you to head back before exploring. I wonder how many people have seen this message. It's not that long of a trip, but it's definitely annoying to get here considering you're such a low level and you don't even have a map yet. Anyway, back to the intended path. It's a bit of a hike to the next spot from where you start, kinda forgot. Oh man, look at that! Another trope I love in this series, having incredibly dangerous enemies directly on the path at the beginning of the game. It's the game putting you on notice that you could just end up next to a monster that'll one-shot you. Of course, a level 23 isn't dangerous to me now, but to a level 2? They could glance at me funny and I'd disintegrate. The game tells you about the icons next to enemy names in the world. This one means it'll attack you if it notices that other monsters in the area are also attacking you. I thought it was cute that there's these little babies roaming around and they won't attack you if you don't attack first. But if you do attack first, then the parent will come by and send you to the moon like a Skyrim giant. It's cute that they're protective of their young like that. Look, in the tutorial message for this mechanic, it even has this monkey enemy shown in particular. Neat. Elma flew a little too close to the sun here and paid the price for it. That's on her, not me. Alright, after all that, you're introduced to New Los Angeles, humanity's home in this alien world. I was actually kind of surprised you get to fully explore this space. Something about it just made me feel like it wouldn't be a part of the open world. There's so many buildings and these plain roads with a huge drop below them. I don't know, it felt like a space that they only intended to be shown off in cutscenes. But no, it is yours to explore. Where to start though? There's a lot to talk about. Guess we'll go clockwise, starting in the industrial district, since this is where you first enter into NLA. I actually don't have much to say about this part of the city, it's my least favorite of the districts. Though it does have this massive hangar. I love just how empty it is. Like they didn't even dot some toolboxes and little tables around here. This is empty, which makes sense considering they do scale stuff here. But still, it feels weird. Also, this diner is kinda funny. It's just silly to think about humanity on the brink of extinction on an alien planet, and this is one of the places they get their food, the classic 50s style diner. Though I guess this is probably good for morale. Better to eat at a place like this than something that looks like a prison dining hall. Let's head over to the commercial area. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, you just phase through cars. I don't know what I was expecting when I first discovered that, but I feel like it wasn't this. That's like the only knock against this game for having a believable world. Not a big deal though. There's a lot of foot traffic in this district. As you progress through the game, all kinds of alien races will start to call this city their home. You can see them commingle with humans. It's lovely. Those people are hanging out on a balcony where there's no door. Wonder how long they've been stuck. There's a lot of businesses in this area, so many storefronts to observe. A stationery store, a gallery? Clothing stores I could understand, but would humanity's final bastion really need a gallery? What details are on the windows? Parking in rear. There is a lot back here, but it seems like that might be for another business. I almost freaked out at Mexican bread there for being included in this fantasy game, but I briefly forgot that Earth and all its real-ass countries actually existed in this world. I guess people would still crave Mexican bread after the Earth was destroyed. Hold up. Hold the gosh diddly darn phone. Is that the Heinz logo? They are strikingly similar. I swear you can even see the Z at the end of the text at the top there. I'm not sure why a store would have a Heinz logo attached to the front window, and also why it would appear in a Nintendo game. That's weird too. Shady back alley here. Hey, is that ladder too small? It feels squished compared to a normal one. The developers have them all above the ground, and they thought I wouldn't notice. But I did. I always notice. Also some tiny cute dumpsters. I like this central area here. It's not hidden or anything, it just has good vibes. Oh, there's a mission you get in NLA where you have to collect 99 lobster toys hidden around the city. There's no mission markers, you just find them yourself. Kinda overwhelming knowing that there's nearly 100 of them. You would no doubt know this city like the back of your hand if you found them all yourself. Huh. Kinda forget about these two big buildings sometimes. Yep, they're there. The administrative district. There's a girl pitting two men against each other in a fight for her love. She says that if either of them truly love her, then they'll recover the patrol copter that crashed in Caldros. If that's not true love, I don't know what is. Also, a Nopon and a Manon watch on in horror. Poor fellas. When I started the game, I came across some random civilian who said something funny. It was a couple-second moment into my dozens of hours of recordings, so I couldn't find it in there, but I did happen to take a screenshot of it, just as it was fading away no less. She remarks on how you can buy scales from the shop in Armory Alley. Man, I love living in the future, she adds. Have you ever thought about how you're currently living in the future? Though you're also living in the now. You're at now, and you can't go back to then. You missed it, just now. But then will be now soon. Okay, honestly, that's it for this district. I'm sorry. Actually, I was gonna take these steps down to the residential area instead of hopping down like a crazy person. As it turns out though, these don't take you down there. They just bring you to a tiny little empty space with seemingly no purpose. Though I'm sure one quest brings you here. There's a lot of them I haven't done, and the ones I have done kinda went in one eye and out the other. I very well could have been in this space before and completely forgot about it. It's weird. Crazy person mode engaged. I love the residential district. It's funny how they so carefully crafted a suburban area for people to live in aboard the White Whale. It seems like the people in charge of the Earth-Life Colonization Project were very interested in preserving human life as it was. They thought suburbs and diners and grocery stores are key to the human experience. I feel like that's definitely true in real life. I don't know if that's beautiful or sad. These houses really are nice though. They're sizable, got yards and all that, and some even have pools. It's cool to find NPCs in this area and see what they have to say about each other. I really like the random dialogue you can come across in this game. Some random guy called Manon Space Hobos for some reason. That's kinda out of pocket considering you were just introduced to them. This guy can hang from a basketball hoop. You'd think he'd change his tone when he saw their sick ballin' skills. Some more Manon hanging out in the tennis court balancing on the net. Couple of Nopon too. And this human hopes to give this tennis style a try sometime. The cultural exchange here is beautiful. And you know what? Just for you, I'll find something while recording the footage. I won't know what it is because I haven't done it yet, but you can look at the screen now and see this amazing sight. Who knows what beautiful moment I'll discover here. That's the final district in the city, but it's not the last place to see. Partway through the story, the Manon bring a ship by and park it right up there. It's an honorary part of NLA. Hopping into this teleporter near the Blade Tower takes you to it. It's kind of a cool vibe. I never paid attention to the detailing of the ship before. They got a lot going on. These couches, though. I don't think these are structurally sound with that one support point in the middle. But what do I know? I'm just a measly pretzel. I don't have much to say about this place, either. It is cool to take in the scale of it all, though. Oops. Guess we're going for a swim. This really reminds me of the body of water in Colony 9 from Xenoblade Chronicles. It's just a super flat area for you to swim around in, and not much else. This is what it means to be a Xenoblade game to me. To have this massive flat space that doesn't necessarily have any gameplay purpose, but it makes sense in world. If there was water down here, it makes sense that you'd be able to swim around in it. Having it teleport you if you fell off the ledge would be boring. Let the player trudge through the water and climb back up, or fast travel if you're boring. How many players do you think swam all the way over to this wall? I know I ask that question a lot in these videos, but it's a fun way to engage with the game for me. To think I very well might be the first human being ever to be in this spot. I discovered a discussion you can have with one of your party members down here, Fog. He says that this isn't actually water. It's a gel designed to cushion impacts. He informs you that there's rumors that the gel will actually harden up like the crystals outside of NLA if you inject a coagulating agent into it. So, this isn't water. Whatever, my earlier point still stands. I kinda wish it did make you climb back up the stairs if you fell down. That'd be funny. That still isn't all there is to see in NLA here. Partway through the game, you're granted the ability to pilot a Skell. A big ol' mech that lets you hurt bad guys real good and speed through the environment. Some chapters past that, then you're actually able to buy a flight module. The game truly opens at that point. You actually first get to use it in the city here. Immediately, I felt like I needed to explore all the space I couldn't reach on foot before. There's so many areas you can walk around on up here. So many little crevices to hide in. This ring here seemingly goes all around the city. It exists. Huh, there's a ramp. It seems like this is so you can get out if you're stuck in this ring, though I'm not sure how you'd get here without the flight Skell module. Also, you can fast travel at any time. Why is this here? Peculiar. You can fly on top of buildings in the administrative district. And of course, you can fly to the top of Blade Tower. Oh, there's a side quest up here. I'm sure they're fine. I'm kinda busy right now. Man, look at this view. This is Mira. Beautiful. It's time for us to leave New Los Angeles and head out into nature to explore all that Mira has to offer. The first region is Primordia, where NLA is located. This is where you're finally let loose into the world. Kind of a weird pull, but it reminds me of an area I gathered footage from way back in my Final Fantasy XIV video, this spot right here. It was right outside of a city, too. You follow the path a little bit and the space really opens up. I love that about this series. It isn't afraid to put such big and empty spaces in front of the player. Early on, you don't have a skill to speed through here. You gotta put your own 2 feet to work. That, alongside placing you next to some super dangerous monsters, make this world feel believable. It's so nice to just exist here, to take in the sights and savor it all. It's a little plain aesthetic-wise, but all games like this are with the first area. It gets wacky later down the line. That's not to say there aren't some interesting details in Primordia. Look at this rock. How is that supported by just a tiny pillar? I love coming across weird natural formations in games that feature alien worlds. It's something you definitely can't find in the real world. It existed in the mind of an artist, and they brought it to life here. The Sea-Swept Base is the first enemy camp you come across during the story. You get a brief glimpse at Oblivia to the east with all the wacky architecture that region has. We'll definitely go into all that later. But you also overlook the sea to the south. This is something I definitely talked about in my Xenoblade Chronicles 1 videos. For as much as I like covering the world you can see in these games, I also like to think about the world you can't see. What lies just beyond the horizon there? Is there another continent just out of view? Maybe way out of view? This could be it. This continent could be the only one on planet Mira. We could be completely alone on this planet. I love not knowing. Having a mystery makes it more interesting. When I was exploring this section of the map during my playthrough, I had a hard time finding FN Site 118. The most it'll tell you is that one exists in this big hexagonal chunk. You gotta find it inside there yourself. A lot of the time, they're just out in the open and you'll see them immediately. But sometimes, it's like the developers are trying to trick you. I was walking around this area for a bit trying to find Site 118, but I couldn't. Then I go over here and notice a slope leading upward. It ends with a super tiny cave right at the peak. Come on, that's devilish. They knew what they were doing. This reminds me of that one cave I gushed about in my first Xenoblade video. That one had a pool of water in it and was lit up beautifully. This one is boring in comparison. There's nothing here. I'm sure they could have come up with some detail, however small, to try and make this room the least bit memorable. Sorry, I'm being a hater because this spot was just so great. This has potential. I can feel it. But they left it like this, and it's just kinda sad. There's a camp just east of here. One of the NPCs here early in my playthrough said something about being careful near the cliff to the north. It'd be a long walk back, I think she added. Some characters will say stuff like that, give you little hints about things in the world for you to discover. And I don't mean like a content discovery. This isn't something you check off on the way to 100%ing the game. It's just a little scene you can look at. It's contextualized by some of the dialogue you just happen to come across. While it doesn't count towards the literal 100% completion of the game, it kinda counts towards your mental completion of the game. You fully understand the world and the people inside it. At the Seirim Northeast Plain, there's a flock of Vivellos just hanging out. I don't know why, but I think these guys are so cute, especially how they run around. They look so jolly. I like to think this is just their form of play, chasing each other around. It's fun to nature watch throughout this game. Like I pointed out earlier with the big monkey guy, the developers will sometimes craft a story with the way monsters are placed or how they interact with each other. It's not just about the terrain of the planet, but the creatures living on it. You know, ecology and all that. They did a great job there. Also, the cliffside right next to them. It's super beautiful. It's such an interesting view with a lot going on. The beach surrounding the cliffside, the little sand islands poking out from the water, and that overhang there. It's a memorable spot. I remember spending some time here during a side quest or two. Some areas in this game blend together. Occasionally there's just nothing to make an area stand out from another. But this spot sticks with me. I dig it. There's a side quest early on that tasks you with killing some pig creatures. You get there and it's just a bunch of babies. So sad. You're given the choice to spare them or kill them where they stand. Me, being the paragon of virtue that I am, chose to spare them. Maybe they'll cause problems later, maybe they won't. Who can say? They probably won't though. They'll remember humans spared them and become good. Oh. Yeah, they kill a guy later and you're forced to put them down. Unfortunate. I like that as a subversion of what you'd expect to happen. I feel like you'd expect them to come back as adults and save you from a big monster attack, that they'd have their own heroic moment. But that never happens. Those were just wild animals. Yet another reason why this world feels super real. A wild baby boar that you saved would probably still maul you when it grew up. That's just life, getting mauled by a boar. Hanging out in this cave reminds me of that whole escapade. It makes me reflect on my choices and humans' place on Mira. Great little quest line, and quaint little spot to think back on it in. I was doing some platforming on this rock at one point. It seemed like a nice spot to get a good look at the surrounding landscape. This was before I could fly in the scale, I think, so it was the best I could get. And you know what? It was a good spot. The view is nice from up here. After taking a moment, I begin to climb down. That's when I notice a peculiar sight. Amongst all the normal patches of grass, there's one tiny little tree all by itself. Look at that thing. It is especially tiny. It just struck me as weird because it so obviously looks like a normal-sized tree scaled way down to ankle height. I did think to verify it. This isn't a one-off thing. These tiny trees are all over. I was kinda hoping that this would be a one-of-a-kind thing. That there was one random baby tree that could only be found here. Alas, there are many of these. It's still cute though. The plundered ruin is, a plundered ruin. This might be the first time you come across hints of an ancient civilization on this planet. I'd say it was for me since this is the first time I noted it down. It was definitely a surprise coming across this. I don't want to spend too much time on it now though. We'll definitely have more to say about it later. The final area in Primordia I want to talk about is FN Site 101. I thought this was interesting because it's way out of the way. It's behind some mountains and on top of some rocks that you can only reach by flying. It just seemed like a weird spot to have one of these. They placed a point of interest to draw you out here, but there's no enemies or anything. So lonely. Before we go any further, hear me out real quick. If you like this longer video, consider supporting me on Patreon. I'm trying out something new here by doing one long video on a game rather than breaking it up into parts. It took me a while to put this together, and as you might have noticed, I haven't uploaded in a few weeks. Just throwing me a buck or two on Patreon allows me to really take my time with videos like this, and not be so beholden to the YouTube algorithm. Alright, back to it. Noctilum is the second region you visit, just to the west of Primordia. We finally get to go through here. Of course, we got a scale reveal with this little tunnel in the end of it. Lovely. I guess this counts as the jungle region of the game? This definitely feels alien. So many weird plants and trees all over. Like this. What even is this thing? The water is red here and damages you, but only a little bit, so it's not that bad. You could probably drink this and be fine. Oh my god, there was an enemy I had to kill for some quest early on. It was up on that cliff. Just one little fellow was roaming around up there. I could not find a way to reach it. I spent so much time walking around this maze of a spot trying to find a path or cave that would lead you up there. I couldn't find anything. I think I just waited until I unlocked scales and used their better jump heights to reach it. I have no idea how you're supposed to get up here on foot. Seems like you just might not be able to. This drove me crazy, and I had to give it a brief mention. With some epic parkour skills, I was able to reach a cliff that looks over a cave. Even though you don't take fall damage in this game, you still gotta be careful to not fall into a dangerous place. Like there could be level 75 guys down there. They would still wreck me even this late into the game. Fortune favors the bold. Aw, it's just some cute little fellas hanging out. Look, they don't even have any icons next to their names, which means they won't attack you on sight. They're just chill. And they roll around, so adorable. Whale's Weeper is the name of this cave. I love it. In the Whale's Nostril, yeah, there's a whole lot of whale locations in Noctilum. You can find the Dodonga Caravan, a small group of Nopon traders. Seems like a relatively safe place to call home for the time being. I like the vibes of the little camp they set up. This is the caravan that your Nopon friend Tatsu is from, so you have a bit of a personal connection to them. That makes this spot all the more meaningful. It's cute to check in on his brothers and sisters, see what they're up to, and just kinda spend time with everyone. The next spot really left a mark on me. Your first time through here, a main story mission asks you to go way over there. Simple enough, I'll just follow this path and... oh, level 37 enemy jump scare. Pretty sure you're around level 15 or so during this point in the story, so these guys will body you. And you can see there's a couple more along the path, though these guys are no problem to me now. Turns out, the path doesn't even go along the cliffside. You're just made to think that it does from the perspective back here. It actually does lead you over there if you go through this cave. But I just thought it was funny how I assumed that this path went all the way to the other side. And real quick, I love this spot. It's a secret spot named Yagami's Vista. I always dig a spot that overlooks a large area. I particularly like how the land bridge way over there is framed against the blue sky. It's a striking visual. Anyway, I couldn't take that path. I decided to jump down and climb up that tree. That seemed like the way forward. Whee! I mindlessly beelined it to the shore over there. All of a sudden, level 60 enemy jump scare. Alright bro, they're just playing with me now. I didn't even consider that this was a guy that could wake up and obliterate me. Let's look at his enemy intel page. There it is, one loss against him. Come on, nearly 2 million HP, and you put him right in the path of a level 15? That's devious. Gotta say, it is memorable though. I'm sure if any of you guys got murked by this fella, you know what I'm talking about. I don't remember if it's the quest I was talking about earlier or another one, but one of the quests has you crossing that land bridge I just pointed out. It's actually called Goblin's Narrow. Don't mind me, just taking in the sights. Anyway, your destination is Sunlit Spring. I really like this place. I can't put into words why, but it vibes with me. It almost feels like an oasis with these little bodies of water, and we're raised above the average ground level of Noctilum. It just struck me as interesting for whatever reason the first time I came by here. You got a brief look at it from Goblin's Narrow, but now we get to finally explore northern Noctilum. Standing here at the elephant's trunk, it's striking. My first time here, I had to stop for a moment and just take this in. This game is so good at instilling wonder in the player. Structures will tower over you, and you almost can't even turn your camera up enough to see the top of it. I feel like there's an inherent sense of wonder seeing something incredibly tall in real life. It puts things into perspective. The average human height in the United States is around 5 foot 9 inches. Most things we come across are built to be interacted with at that scale. Your refrigerator, your car, a toilet, these are human-crafted objects made to be interfaced with by humans. But then you come across a really big rock formation, and that shakes things up. Not everything in this world is built for you. It's built to a scale all its own. Some structures in nature just naturally tower over us. Standing in front of something like that and being confronted with it, it can kind of shake you a bit if you're in the right mood. The Xenoblade series perfectly captures that vibe. And it especially matters in this game because you're on an alien planet. Nothing here was built for you. You're an intruder. None of these plants make sense. You don't know why they reach so high into the sky. All you and I can do is simply observe. One of the random things you'll find in the world are white whale debris. These are pieces of the white whale ship that's scattered across the planet. You'll find dozens of these throughout Mira. None of them are particularly special. Though when I came across this one, it got me thinking, what did the interior of the white whale look like? It was obviously a huge ship and housed a lot of people, but I'm imagining the fine details of it. The rooms people would call home, hallways that would lead to dining rooms, and just random areas meant to support the ship as a whole. That's obviously what this was. There's some mysterious tanks that contain God knows what. Probably sun-kissed. That's what I would want to preserve in the event of humanity's imminent extinction. It's just beautiful being down here. It reminds me of the huge body of water in Machna Forest from Xenoblade Chronicles. I distinctly remember pointing out in my tour the waterfalls, how I wondered about what lays beyond them, what the land would look like if you were somehow able to just fly up and over them. You couldn't in that game though, you were grounded. This game is another story. You can fly over the waterfalls, and it's yet another beautiful sight. There's all these almost coral-like structures. They're huge. There's so many of them. And the grass is blue for some reason. I love when grass is a color other than green. That's a shortcut to a memorable environment for me. Over here is a tyrant, one of the game's many unique enemies. You come across some truly nasty tyrants throughout this game. Sadar, the Unhinged, Asana, the Azure Star, Gora, the Guardian Deity. We had an encounter with them earlier. All fearsome enemies with their name being enough to strike fear into your heart. And then we have Schneider the Cliff Percher. Isn't he terrifying? He's a little crab dude, and he's just on a cliff all by his lonesome. He does have some friends nearby, but they're all on the ledge above. They don't dare drop to his ledge. He is the Cliff Percher after all. I had a quest to kill him super early on. I did it, of course. But he respawned, and now I'm back, like 50 levels stronger. I've grown a lot since then. I've learned I don't need to fight him. We can share this cliff. Nearby is the Sato Headwater Cave. I don't know, this place just struck me as off. It's flooded with water, which is already a bad vibe. But then you have to climb some trees and do some awkward platforming to reach the top. I don't like this spot. It has bad vibes. Nasty, nasty vibes. Near FN Site 204 is a bunch of evil gator lizard creatures. I only took note of this spot because there's just a comical amount of them. Usually you only find 3 or 4 of a creature in a pack, but there's more than 10 here. And they all will attack you on sight. A fearsome visual for a low-level player. It definitely had me shaking in my boots. These developers really will taunt you with high-level enemies like that. It's great, a staple of the series for sure. You're able to sneak by safely, but they want you to stay on your toes. Next spot I want to talk about is on the complete other side of the region. Anything to talk about as we go over there? This part of Noctilum really does look just like Primordia. It's weird, they kinda slipped back into that aesthetic. None of the other regions really have parts that look like another region. Whoa, that's an interesting structure. The environmental artists for this game are literally the best in the industry. They are cranking out memorable landmarks left and right. Monolith Soft really is the GOAT. Huh, I actually completely skipped over this during my playthrough. That looks like a spot that houses something. The Weeping Whitewood. Definitely a distinct look. And some high-level enemies, too. It would have been spooky to come across this place earlier. Of course, it's not a problem for me in my current level. I mean, I could take them on. I'm just kinda busy, you know? Rockmole's Burrow. A short tunnel leads you to the den of that big fella. He sits there and just, well, I'm not sure what he's doing. Kinda looks like he's seething with rage. His fists are clenched and he's breathing heavily. Maybe he's upset that I invaded his home, and I stole some of his stuff. Yeah, I guess I'd be seething too. You can fly over the mountains that enclose this region. You're greeted with a great emptiness. Also, a flat area like we saw as the last spot in Primordia. This reminds me of a point I made way back in my GTA 3 tour. This feels like a spot that shouldn't exist. In that game, I found myself on a patch of land separate from the normal explorable area of the map, like you had to go out of your way to find it. And when you got there, it felt purposeless. Like, why is there all this playable space when the cliffside there could have just been extended downwards into the water? I feel that here. There are no items to collect on this ledge, no monsters to fight, no anything. Why doesn't the mountain just reach straight down into the water? It feels like this exists for a reason, and yet it doesn't. Down here is an actual spot of note though, Idyll Beach. I love that this is a spot they thought to include in this world. It's just a super tiny beach, way out of the way from the normal traversable space. This is really only accessible by Skell pilots. And oh my god, there's 2 beach chairs. That's awesome. I didn't even notice those before. What if a couple that are also Skell pilots set this up? They'd fly over here after a long shift or maybe on a break to just chill and enjoy the view. It's cute thinking of this as someone's special little spot that only they know about. Though the Frontier Nav site does bring you here, so you're bound to see this if you're trying to get them all. I almost think it'd be cooler if this was unmarked on the map, like if you could super easily miss this spot. Though if that was the case, I probably wouldn't have seen this. Maybe there's another cool beach along the coast on the other side of Noctilum and I just haven't seen it. It could be out there just waiting to be discovered. I'll leave that person's special little spot to themselves though. Time to fly to the next spot. Wow, I don't think I've ever had a bird's eye view of Noctilum before. This is nice. Here in Blood Pond Basin, you get a good look at the mountains that lay to the north. Getting even closer at the Celestial Ascent, you'll notice some weird red branches reaching out from above. You can't see where they're coming from. And you also can't climb up there. You need a flight Skell module. I like how the developers gate off a part of an early game region like that. It makes exploring this space again feel meaningful. Up we go. Whoa. That's definitely something alright. I don't know what to make of it. It's striking, I'll say that much. We've seen a lot of green plants throughout this stage, so red stands out, especially when it's this big. You can actually climb up the plant and go inside. Joker the Unknowable resides in it with his posse. Level 90, whew, definitely not gonna piss that guy off. And also roaming this area, Telethia the Endbringer, a nice little reference to Xenoblade Chronicles. This fella is level 99, I don't even want to get close to them. Though they do only attack in self-defense, so that's nice I guess. Still gonna keep my distance. The final spot for Noctilum is FN Site 213. I spent a while looking for it up here since there's a lot of explorable space in this area. It took me a moment to realize that the site was actually way down below. It's easy to forget how much this game plays with verticality. You gotta drop for a good bit to reach it. And this is it. It's just a quaint little rock. Nothing to find here. Just you and the ocean. Back in Primordia, this time on the eastern end of it, you find yourself at the Gate of Oblivia. You kinda know what you're getting into as you walk through this transitionary area. This is gonna be the game's desert region, and it is. But the main hook for this place in my eyes is the massive chasm. You're greeted with it when you first enter, and it's so imposing. This is the first bottomless pit you come across in the game, and it's kinda scary. Even though there's literally no penalty for falling, it still kinda evokes fear. I don't want my digital avatar to have to experience distress by falling off the ledge, even if they will just come back. I'm sure you see it from here. There's a lone platform hanging just above the chasm. Well, I say hanging, it's really floating. Don't worry about it. This feels especially perilous, looking up at the traversable landscape above you with nothing but darkness below you. imagine getting trapped here somehow. That'd be terrifying. During my adventures, I randomly found myself in this spot at night once, and for whatever reason, I was just struck with awe. Sometimes that happens to me in games. I'll just be going about my business, and then bam, the scene is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I guess the moon being framed through that giant ring structure helps with the vibe. On top of the nearby mountain, there's a tyrant and some of his followers. But more peculiarly, is that a word? Whatever. There's a set of rocks arranged in a very specific pattern. I don't know what it means, but I noticed it. Maybe there's some quest out there that explains what Wenzel the Inebriated is up to with all his Saltat friends. But maybe there isn't. I think that'd be awesome. I love the idea of leaving a hint towards something that obviously exists in-world, but not explaining it at all. Like this was all put together for a reason. Maybe it was part of a ritual. Maybe it's part of the Saltat's nature to do this. Or maybe some humans did it for fun. We'll never know. I found this. Crater Oasis it's called. What an apt name. It almost looks like a big footprint. For a moment, I wanted to speculate about what massive unseen creature would have caused this, but we definitely see a lot of big animals in this game. Not as fun to ponder about which large creature could have caused this crater when you come across so many. You can actually see your next spot from here. Lurking in the distance is a massive ring. This definitely gets the mind racing about what kind of being called Mira home before you. Though with it fallen like this, it definitely seems like it was originally in the sky. And you know what? I did kinda brush past the giant circular structure that was in front of the moon earlier, as well as some obviously handcrafted pillars at the entrance to Oblivia. There are a lot of remnants of an older society in this world, in this region specifically. This game does expand on ancient societies that existed in this universe, but none of that really fits this, I think. Just like the rune on top of the mountain, the game doesn't even attempt to explain the source of the ring and all that. And this is a lot harder to miss. You'd have to be practically blind to not take notice of all the obvious hints to a people that no longer exist. It's like the game is begging you to think about it, and then it doesn't elaborate at all. I can see why some people might say that's boring, how one might argue that it's lazy to just throw in some mystical structure and not have to even think about an explanation for it as a developer. But I like what it does for the world. Some stuff just does get lost to time. There's a whole section of academia dedicated to figuring out the secrets of people of the past, decoding their writing, and trying to make inferences based on the stuff they left behind. You could imagine people doing that in the world of this game. Some people would no doubt be interested in figuring out the history of these ancient structures. It's just one of the many things that make this world feel believable. In the middle of a nearby Ganglion fortress, there's a little cave entrance. We've looked at a lot of stuff so far, so I can't remember how many caves we've visited. Just so we're on the same page, most of the caves in this game look the same, i.e. boring. They all blend together. But this one sticks out. It's a sandy cave. I haven't had a chance to mention it in a while, but I love sandy caves. Just off the top of my head, the ones I've pointed out in games I've covered are Final Fantasy VII, Shadow of the Colossus, Guild Wars 1, Spyro the Dragon. That's all I can think of now, but there's probably a couple others. The point is, I love this. In this game in particular, it sticks out because it's so cramped. So many of the spaces I've shown off so far, as well as the ones I've yet to show off, are so expansive. So much room to run around and be free. But down this tunnel, you're tightly packed. It's like this was made for you. This is your hole. At the end of it is a beautiful little room with the sky peeking through above. This genuinely was made for me. It's peak. Off the western coast of Oblivia is the next spot. It's not too far out, but it does feel properly secluded. I got another weird spot deja vu for you. This reminds me of the one plateau I found in the Gerudo Desert in Breath of the Wild. Something about cute little plateaus that have no way for normal people to reach the top resonate with me. The Rothian Stronghold is a spot you're introduced to during Chapter 13, the epilogue added to the Definitive Edition. I don't know if it was accessible before that though. I overwrote my save so I can't go back and check. Either way, it's nice to be here now. It's so cute. This reminds me of Dune when Paul was in the caves with the Fremen. The Rothians got enough to keep themselves busy down here. Some computer panels, council area, pool of water, whatever this thing is. I bet it would get annoying living here for long enough though, seeing the same spot over and over. Though this balcony does have a nice view. The final spot in Oblivia is way up there. I love when this game makes you fly up or fall down for a long period of time. It really sells the scale of this world. An oasis in the sky. Such a great concept. There's a whole assortment of animals up here enjoying their little paradise. All these layers to hang out on, with some even going into the rock. There is something that stumped me though. I saw this room with some collectibles and a treasure inside. For the life of me, I couldn't find a way in. I thought I was going crazy. But then I changed it to daytime and found the cave entrance. Turns out it's easier to see things during the day. Aw, look at that! A perfectly heart-shaped water pool. You know, I could go on a whole thing asking questions like, well, how did this get here? Surely this isn't a natural formation. But I'm not gonna do that. We're just gonna hang out here for a moment. Enjoy the view of the northern sea from this love cave in the sky. Yet again, we're going back to Primordia, but this time, we're going north. This is actually a bit of a trek your first time around. Got a lot of water to wade through. Thank God for Skells. You can see it from all the way back here. Sylvalum. That skyline is impressive. From all the way over here, you wonder about what it might look like up close. Then you finally reach it and realize how big it all truly is. It towers over you with these strips curving inward. It's peculiar, ribcage-esque. While writing this, I got out of my Skell to let it refuel a bit. Once you get your Skell license, you stop walking around on foot as much. There's no reason to when you can double or maybe even triple your normal running speed. But when you do that, you lose scale of the world. You're no longer interacting with Mira as a human with human-like abilities. You're interacting with it as a Skell with Skell-like abilities. It's easy to forget just how big some of these areas are. And then you walk through the entrance to Sylvalum, and that scale is laid bare. There are so many little slopes to walk over and enemies to interact with. In a Skell, you don't really have to engage with any of that. The world smooths over as you glide past it. But on foot, you have to engage with every tiny slope and rock you come across. You comb through the world with a fine-tooth comb this way. But it does take a while, so I'm just going to keep using my Skell. Anyway, how about this look? I feel like the regions we've seen so far in this game have been relatively traditional. You got your plains area, jungle, desert, a lot of games have places like that. This is different. This white sand, all this bizarre flora. It's hard to even pinpoint what it's supposed to be. It almost feels like it's referencing design tropes you'd usually see in underwater areas. The rocks surrounding Sylvalum, these trees, these little plants, they look like they'd fit perfectly in an ocean level. I'm sure other games have gone for this look. This definitely isn't the first game ever to go for underwater vibes on the surface. But it feels unique. It's a design that I haven't seen enough in my life to the point where it becomes a trope. It's its own thing. I dig it. During the story, you have a boss fight with a real big ship here. After the fight, it crashes down and just stays there. I love when events permanently transform the world in RPGs. It makes it feel like events are truly happening and creates cohesion between the cutscenes and gameplay. That's a hard barrier to breach sometimes, but they do it well here. I don't really think there's anything of note at this ship. This space doesn't meaningfully change because the ship crashed down. But it's cool to just walk around it, to realize how big it truly is when you're right up next to it. I was tracking some materials at one point, and it told me to kill a monster in this area. But the tracker placed that monster inside this mountain. I spent so much time zipping around it, trying to find a way to get underneath. After wasting a lot of Skell fuel, I eventually found the cave entrance on the wall of this narrow passage. It really does feel like this game trolls you with objectives sometimes. I don't think I would have known this cave even existed if I didn't happen to track that material and try to find the monsters in here. I never would have thought to look up in this spot. They hid some stuff real well in this game. This cave is super cool though. Sand Sprint Cavity is the name. This almost feels like a Mako pool down below. Maybe it's best not to go swimming in there. You can safely enjoy the vibes of this cave from your skell. There's a minor cave system you can come across in the north. It's relatively normal, though this main room does feel a little special. Anyway, partway through it, I started hearing this clacking sound. The first time I heard it, I genuinely muted my TV because I thought it was something going on in real life. But it wasn't. It was coming from the game. I had no idea what was going on. I'd never heard an environmental sound like this before. I thought it might be a friendly NPC making some music, or I don't know. I didn't know what it was. I resolved myself to put it off and wait until now to figure it out, so we could discover the source of this sound together. Turns out, it's this guy. He's one of these enemies, but he likes to pretend as if he's a statue for some reason. There's another one of these right at the entrance to the cave, and he makes the same sound too. I also made it a point to talk about these weird statue monsters in this video. I just genuinely never thought to tie those two particular observations together. This cave drives me insane. I gotta get out of here. North of Sylvalum is the final region of the game. But don't worry, we still have more to talk about after this. Anyway, Cauldros. I don't have as many spots to talk about in this region. While it is the one I spent the least amount of time in, considering it's the last you unlock, I also just don't quite vibe with it as much. I like exploring and looking for nooks and crannies in comfy spots. This is anything but. I don't feel welcome here. There are some spots to talk about though. There's a bunch of ruins here as well. And they're massive. Who knows what was going on with this planet before you arrived? The White Phosphor Lake is an unpleasant place to be. This is perhaps the nastiest looking liquid I've seen in a game. I made it a point to mention the nasty sludge in Portal recently, but this is on a whole other level. I feel like the fumes from this would just melt my skin. And there's this flower creature living in it. I can't target it, but I have a feeling it's an enemy. I don't even want to get close and activate it. I'll keep my distance. The main attraction for this region is the Ganglion home base. You can't help but notice it when you first step foot into Cauldros. Before we go into the main building though, I want to point out this building to the side. I saw it was labeled a villa and got excited. I went looking around for an entrance and couldn't find one though. I went to the wiki and it confirmed that it is unenterable. That's a shame. I would have loved to see how the Ganglion decorate their living space. Alas, we'll just have to settle for their military base. I don't actually know if they built this whole megastructure or if it's remnants of the previously alluded to extinct species. It's pretty expansive, and I don't think they've been on the planet that long, so it probably is something they just found and set up shop in. There's a pretty expansive interior for you to explore during the main story. I'm like 20 levels higher than these guys, so they don't mind me walking around. Excuse me, boss, need to take the elevator. Just running through to see if there's any cool spots. Oh, geez, I guess that guy still doesn't like me. Huh, we've already looped around to being back where we started. This place seems a lot bigger when you have to stop every 45 seconds to fight some enemies. Well, there actually is one spot to visit in here. Take another elevator down. And yeah, we're in what was previously a boss arena. I love when you can re-enter places that were obviously built for a boss fight. They always make them so unnecessarily large. Like you do not need all this space for the fight, but it gives weight to the encounter. This definitely does feel epic. Oh, I guess that's it for Cauldros. Like I said, I don't really vibe with this region, so I didn't note many spots going through here. But this arena, it really is peak. before we move on to stuff added in the definitive edition, let's cover the final area that was in the original release, Mira's Open Waters. There is a lot of water out here. A couple of islands to find that are a good bit away from the shorelines too. But I want to check out one spot in particular. I don't remember what the context was, but I saw a comment online mentioning this island. It's way at the northwestern corner of the map, and it's super easy to miss. Apparently it's easier to miss in the Wii U game because of the low-resolution screen on the gamepad. Today, I'm going all the way out there to document this faraway island. Let's fast travel back to the tip of Noctilum that we visited earlier and begin our journey. Give me a second, gotta hit the ground first before making my way there. Okay, now let the journey begin. So, like in the video? This is definitely the longest video I've made, and I'm curious if it vibes with you guys or not. If this does well, I might do it again in the future. Again, throw me a buck or two on Patreon if you want to see more of these massive multi-week projects. Your support would make more of these possible. Alright, final plug of the video, I promise. Nobody's probably even watching at this point. In fact, nobody will hear me admit that my real name is Barth. Oh, there it is! Didn't take as long as I was expecting, honestly. Oh my god, and of course it's a level 80 enemy. We can't even enjoy this scene without him causing trouble. Great. Actually, I can just get out of his range, then sneak back. There we go. We can quietly hang out on the backside of this island. I don't know what I expected. It's just a lonely island. You know what? The journey was more important than the destination. Now that we've explored all that Mira has to offer, we'll take a brief look at some stuff that happens in the game's epilogue, and then we'll end out this beefcake of a video with my favorite spot in the game. The final chapter sees you boarding a giant ship hovering above New Los Angeles. Within it, you discover an expansive space called Volataris. Your party is split up upon entering, and you have to run around gathering everyone before fighting the final boss. Before exploring this beautiful landscape though, let's turn around and explore this boring flat space. That sounds like fun, doesn't it? You can really go far out here, can't you? Oh, thank God. I was worried I'd have to ride all the way out there. Sometimes invisible walls are a curse, and yet sometimes they're a blessing. Huh, I guess this is a really big space. And it was floating above the city earlier. Honestly, I can't think of a game that plays with scale as much as this game does. Actually, I think Asura's Wrath might have it beat. Okay, the Xenoblade games are a close second. And then you go out here? Like, okay bro, you're playing tricks on me. The ship couldn't have been this big. Honestly, I don't have any spots to show off here. This isn't really that kind of space. What it is a vibe. Everything about the look of this place is awesome. Like this green and brown rock. It doesn't even strike me as grass. It almost feels like copper that's weathered away. All the disconnected floating islands, it's dreamlike. There's no rhyme or reason as to why any of these are in the spot they are. They're just floating about aimlessly. And of course, the dome you find yourself in. It might not even register as one at first, but you can see how it encircles you from all angles. You're in the center of this massive space, but you're also trapped. It's a weird dichotomy there. Outside of the enclosure, though, is more terrain. You can see all kinds of structures out there, all just beyond your grasp. What is it meant to imply about the interior of this ship? How many more enclosures could there be? Or is this the only one? Maybe it's special for some reason. All questions with no answers. Questions don't need answers to be meaningful. Sometimes all they need to do is get you to think. Alright, we've laid our grubby little eyes all over this game. We've seen adorable packs of wild creatures, stunning vistas, ruins of an ancient civilization, and a basketball hoop. Yet out of every spot I've gazed upon in Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is my favorite? Real quick, my third and second favorite spots. It's the Sandy Cave and the Heart Cave respectively, both found in Oblivia. Something about the vibes of these tiny little rooms resonates with me so much. What can I say? I love cramped spaces. Are you ready for my favorite spot now? When I was first granted the Skell flight module, I knew where I first wanted to go. It was maybe 35 hours or so into my playthrough when I got it. I spent a lot of that time in Primordia just scouting stuff out. I'm pretty sure I visited every Frontier Nav site except for one or two. One at least I was super focused on. It was right in the middle of the map. I spent so much time wandering around this sector looking for the beam of light that signifies the site. It took me a while to realize that I wouldn't be able to reach it on foot. I beelined it there as soon as I got my flight module. Talon Rock Prominence. This is my favorite spot in the game. Something about being way up here above New LA, gazing over it and the world it inhabits, I'm filled with awe. The beauty of Mira is easy to see from here. You get a bird's eye view of it all, and it's stunning. Coming up here, especially now after beating the game, I'm also filled with a sense of accomplishment. It's like when you finish putting something together and take a step back to look at it. You're admiring all the hard work you put in to see it to completion. I'm standing here, reflecting on all the time I put into this game, exploring this beautiful world. It feels like the perfect spot to do that. And get this is the spot that's on the title screen after beating the game. I didn't even plan that out. I only noticed that just a couple minutes ago when I went to the main menu after writing about Volaterra's. It seems like Monolith Soft agreed with me. This is a perfect spot to reflect upon your experience with the game. To think about all the amazing spots we've seen in this beautiful world. Maybe I'll do that one last time before closing this game for good. Thank you so much for watching through to the end. It means a lot to me. Have a good one, Predizens.